Toy the T here. Thank y'all for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and take this moment to have this discussion about the first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency. All right. Now, I know a lot of Americans may, feel some kind of way. And I'm going to record this, y'all, from the start for the top. All right. Hey you guys, Toy the T here, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. If I could get you all to like, share, and subscribe. And please hit that notification button so that way the next time I have a video, you will be notified. And of course, make sure you drop your comments so that way I can know how I'm doing and let me know what I can do to improve my videos, because of course the goal is to make sure I get as much interaction as possible. But thank you for joining me, and let's go ahead and spill this tea. All right, y'all, Toy with the T here, and today we are going to be talking about the first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency, you guys. Now, I know there are tons of Americans who are clearly upset about the winning of this election by Donald Trump. And with this being the case, I don't really think that, especially people from a Christian background, understand that God can do what he want to do. He can use anybody he want to use. And because I'm allowing him to use me, I believe that he can use this gentleman here, right? Everything is for a reason, right? Pharaoh was Pharaoh for a reason, right along with a lot of the other kings and queens that we have in history that help basically, mold today, right? Like, everybody was vital. From the people who sold the slaves to the people who bought the slaves. Like, even though a lot of our generations and what we've been through has been very challenging and sometimes inhumane, it's a part of history, right? And unfortunately, because we have good and evil, things happen for a reason, okay? And in this case, I am not going to allude to the fact that Donald Trump is this malicious, just destroy, kill everybody, Hitler. Like, I just don't see it, right? I try to look at people transparently for who they are, from where their culture stems from how they navigate, you know what I mean? The same way I try to analyze my people, right? And everybody's culture is different. So I'm not offended by white people who grow up in white households who crack jokes about the N-word, you know what I'm saying? Because that's their culture. That's what they do. I don't even get offended by that. You understand what I'm saying? But when it comes to operating out in America, when it comes to handling business, when it comes to, all these rules and policies and laws, what matters is how you take that personal based feeling and bring it out into the workforce, because, right, we don't do slavery anymore, right? We now have laws to protect us against, being racist or being, just excluding someone because of their race, because of their gender, because of their sex. You understand what I'm saying? We've grown humane enough to say that those ways of living are not right. And with that being said, I'm not going to say that Donald Trump is an angel, or has he ever been an angel. But what I am saying is that some of the main factors that he has just unleashed over his first few days after being elected are core values that mean the world to me. These core values I am not willing to compromise on. And throughout of time, I've been forced to compromise because of the law of the land. But at the same time, I respect some of the things that he has done so far, or at least what he is talking about doing so far, when it comes to him stepping into office as our president. All right, now let's get into it, y'all. Let's talk about first this mass deportation, okay? And I think that the only reason why mass deportation is first on the list is because in order for us to be able to remotely closely even try to correct an economy, right? We can't have a bunch of people in the house using up all the lights, eating up all the food that's not accounted for, okay? And at one point, if you go back on to previous broadcasts that I have put out, you will hear me make the comment that it's not their land. I don't think it's fair. I don't think that they should tell people not to stay here. I don't think they, should tell people not to come in. But again, I don't think I was looking at it at a correct lens. Okay? Now let's talk about this mass deportation. We are only looking at deporting people who are not legal. All right? We need for you to be documented because we need to be able to properly, propel our economy. And in order to properly propel our economy, we need to know, that's what our census is for. How many people here? What are we doing? We got to keep track with people. So if we cannot keep track of our people, if we cannot go through the proper channels to make sure that we have authorized individuals on this land, then again, that's like having people in your household eating up all the food and you don't have enough money to go around. You only got enough money for you and your family. Okay, so mass deportation is going to be one of the things that Donald Trump is going to put in, in the forefront. And these are the things that matter to Americans most. Listen, most of the people that I know, for me, I just think they were a little bit belligerent with, oh, they over here, they're taking up our jobs, they doing this, they doing that. Like, I was just over it. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like this. They doing jobs we don't want to do. They doing jobs we don't want to do. We don't want to pick stuff out fields no more. They was doing that. We don't want to work hard anymore. They're coming to do the hard work. Let them rock. Yo, I used to love working with some Latinos. What? They coming, they gonna get the job done. What? Right? But at the end of the day, I'm legal. You gotta be legal. The same way I gotta have papers to come over there. The same way if you want to come over there, we gotta go through y'all channels. It's the same way that if you come over here, you have to come through our channels. So I can't be mad at the fact that we as a nation are doing what's right when it comes to mass deportation. Now, even though this is going to cost billions of dollars for him to even implement this plan, but it's going to have an impact on our economy in so many ways. And we need to understand what this could potentially mean for America when it comes to this mass deportation. Now, let's really put this into perspective. I'm just going to take a number. This is not going to be the correct number. I will Google the correct number, but I'm just going to throw this number out there for right now. Let's just say out of 370 million people in America, 25 million of them are illegal immigrants. And those 25 million work in the sectors of hospitality, which are all of your restaurants, construction, which is all of your building, and agriculture, which is replacing, basically, it's the modern day slave. Okay? So if you take away these 25 million people, that is going to free up jobs for Americans, or in turn, now don't pay me no mind, I'm just a little brown girl now, I'm just talking what I think. But in turn, when we gain these amount of jobs back because of the deportation, I believe, to the knowledge that I have from working in business, the companies can now do one of two things. The companies can now increase the people who work there finances because we're no longer giving it to illegal immigrants. So now you can afford to increase my minimum wage because you have less people. And keep in mind, I now get overtime because there's more work than people, which calls for overtime, which I don't get taxes on, which now increases a better way of living. Now, I'm sorry, Pablo, I love you. But if you don't have your papers, you'll no stay here. Es no bueno para aquí. Tú no finito la papel, es no bueno aquí. Sorry. I mean, it is what it is. It's cause and effect. And if we are really going to be honest about getting America in the right track, because Donald Trump got some very important things that he's knocking out, that he's talking about, that we are acting like we're confused. We're confused on what we're saying and what it actually is. And now that he's here and he's knocking these things out, this is what 85% of Americans went with. It's not about blue, it's not about red, it's about right and wrong. And unfortunately, it took for this guy to be the one to step in and say, hey, listen, he's just racist. I can't say it loud. Just enough to say, listen, if there's 25 million immigrants here, those are 25 million jobs that belong to Americans. So they gotta go. This is about business. This is not about being harsh. This is not about picking. It's not even about racism. It's about business. And the fact of the matter, as we stand here and watch, America is crumbling. Not only from the internal abuse from our government, and we'll talk about this as we go down this line of what this man is doing. Not only from the internal abuse from our government are we crumbling, we're crumbling because we're allowing... Please don't think I'm a racist, but listen, my last interaction working with people of another race is first and foremost, they take on this attitude as if, okay, we lazy, we're this, we're that. But you think you're gonna come here and manipulate us, use us because you're not from here. But you actually think it's okay that you're gonna come and manipulate us, use us, rip us off, mistreat us. I don't care what the white folks did. You ain't gonna come over here and do it. And my last interaction with working with, I'm not even going to say the origin of these people. To me, it seemed like they were just working, draining all the resources out of the business that we created in America, our brand, right? I'm still Americanized because I'm still stuck on brands, right? This is a corporation, the brand America. And when we operate our businesses, we make money from branding, right? So we build these businesses up as these brands. And here we let people come from other places, adapt these brands, and they suck them dry. They send money back home. And now here we stand here now. An American dollar is nothing now because we've allowed outside entities to come in, get the jobs, suck us dry, sell us trash, sell us garbage, treat us like garbage, not put back into the community. Now we're sitting here now facing BRICS. If you don't know what BRICS is, look it up. The American dollar is crumbling, and for the life of me, in my head, I got some ideas, but it's like these analysts can't figure out how to get out of it. What is Trump saying? Now, this is the important point I want to point out about Trump, because his ego, I believe, is exactly what we need. And his ego... His ego is so big. He hires top-notch, top-grade, top of your class individuals, analysts, advisors, you name it. to comb through this system we call a democracy. And in his early years, when he hired his top line accountants, he achieved money. That's what they was talking about last time. Remember they talking about him taxes? He manipulated the system and they're mad at him. Now again, he's an asshole, but I'm a bitch. But when it's about business, I'm about business. You understand me? Call me what you want to. When I'm on that clock, let's go. So when it comes to mass deportation, these X amount of people who are not legal, who are not documented, who are not formal, authorized U.S. citizens must go. And I'm sorry, Juan. I'm sorry, Pablo. I'm sorry, Maria. I'm sorry, Francesca. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's imperative that we make movement on this mass deportation because we need to free up jobs for Americans. Once we free up jobs for Americans, we can now take that money and either one, and somebody share this and push it to Trump because I'm willing to be on the team too because I'm with all the ships. Once we do this mass deportation, I'm now on board with that. That frees up money for Americans. It frees up jobs for Americans. And now, along with this, did we hear that he said he is not going to charge taxes on overtime? Now, I know some of my people who don't want Trump in there. It's like, oh my gosh, you're making a deal with the devil for money. But is God in control or is the devil in control? I'm confused. Because if God is in control, God knows why this man is in office. Mass deportation is one of them. And now if you're a person, let me finish up this mass deportation. Because we should have a gang of bones to pick with the United States. So I appreciate President Trump. You can be ignorant all you want to, and you can act how you want to act. Oh, that ain't my president. Where you from? You can say what you want to say. You sound just as delusional when you say he's not your president as the tranny says, I'm a girl, and it's really a guy. He is the president of the United States of America. I'm a citizen of the United States of America. Did not want Kamala Bear. I'm going with Trump. And now with me coming to the illusion and finally being fed up with seeing people come from other countries and suck us dry, manipulate us, overcharge us, eat up all our money. They stay together. How many Indians do you see in daycare? Daycares. Anybody reckon daycare? How many Indian kids y'all see in daycares? How many white kids y'all see in daycares? How many Chinese kids we see in daycares? How many little Latino kids we see in daycares? Okay, I'm going to leave that right there. Mass deportation is one of the first things Donald Trump got on his list. They got to go. And in doing so, it's only going to stimulate the economy to free up more jobs and free up more money. Along with, I hate to say it, space. Okay. Now, they have already started to execute executive orders on this, okay? Now, I don't know if you guys are on Facebook, on TikTok, excuse me. But there's this guy who, I think he's a construction worker, and he's sending her message to his friend who got deported and sent back to Mexico. And, oh, my God, it broke my heart. Because he's like, oh, you're my friend. I love you. I miss you. This, that, and third. But, I'm sorry. I love you and miss you too. Oh my God, that's so sad. But you break the law. When you break the law, You cannot be here if you do not have the proper paperwork. Period. And he is about to execute on that. And executing on that means more jobs for Americans, more money. Just saying. I'm not trying to be cold, right? But I am a manager. I've managed people, managed situations. And I mean, when it comes to business, I mean business and business. And in order to get America back on track, in order to get Americans money in their pockets, in order to get some of this stuff, I mean, in place, we can't have people that's undocumented. That's one of the first things he's going to do. That's my take on it. Take it or leave it. They're going to be very aggressive with this. Now, keep in mind, another one of the things that we were talking about, and this kind of coincides with what I'm saying about the illegal immigrants. No more taxes on overtime. And for our hospitality workers, specifically our servers, okay, this was one of his catching points in order to even win his presidency. Again, keep in mind, he only won because supposedly the polls show that this percentage of Americans wanted what he was talking. And one of his selling points was servers, which we get paid, what, $2.13 an hour? Servers get paid $2.13, and they won't be taxed anymore. Now, servers can make good money, okay? And servers cannot make good money. But again, with him stating that we're not going to pay taxes on overtime, yay, right? Because they eat your... Anybody ever work overtime? Anybody ever work overtime? And anybody ever seen they check after overtime on how they eat? They might as well keep it. You might as well work for free. So he is ending the taxes on that. And he is doing this also for the servers who only get paid $2.13 an hour. I'm just saying. So with us knowing, again, this is something that is here to stimulate the economy. What was Kamala doing? What was it? So again, the goal is we need the one who's going to do what is necessary for the people, right? And a majority of the people voted with what his policies were going to be, what his policies are, and that is mass deportation. No taxes for service workers. And now he has introduced no taxes on overtime. Come on. Come on. Yeah. I mean, I think that those are things that are very vital to what we're going to do over the next 4 years. Now, listen. If y'all on TikTok, go ahead and check out Black Project 2025, all right? And not only check out Black Project 2025, I need y'all to also check out, hold on, let me see the name of it, y'all. There's a name. The Black Republic of America, y'all. It's on YouTube. The Black Republic of America, y'all. All right. New organization that is aligned to nationalizing Black Americans, creating a new political party. We need our own extent of independence like other races. And if you will go ahead and check out the BP 2025 on TikTok, you're going to see a great project formation by this young lady on TikTok. And also there is also the Black Republic of America. The Black Republic of America. All right, these are two things that are going to be centered around and working in conjunction with the Platinum Plan that Donald Trump also spoke of releasing to assist our communities. And those of you that have been following politics and that has been following Donald Trump since the beginning, you know the Platinum Plan is one of the trademarks of Ice Cube. Okay. Now again, if you guys go on my Facebook, you'll see that I went on blast one day on Facebook and talked about all the rappers. All of you got money and y'all ain't did nothing for us. So now here Ice Cube has created a project for us called the Platinum Plan, which President Trump is adopting. And along with that Platinum Plan, we have also come to discover a new TikTok sensational form of unity, which is also called the BP 2025. Go check that out. And along with the BP 2025, you got the Black Republic of America. All right. So if you guys are really invested in, you know what I'm saying? I mean, just taking back control of what it is that we need for our communities. Again, I'm not trying to exclude anybody, but again, you know, I think it's very important that we focus on our families and we reel this thing back in on what we can do as a whole. So let's take some time and really talk about what he is doing over his next 100 days. And not only what he's doing over the next 100 days, let's also discuss, are these things what we need for our communities? You guys know I need to go live for at least an hour and a half after we discuss, are these things for our community? Then I think we should dive right into, you know, the necessary opportunities that we can take advantage of to kind of get Black Americans nationalized, right? Create our own nation, adopt our own policies, and again, you know, work in conjunction with the United States of America for African Americans that live here on soil. You know, I just don't think that it's conducive for us to continue to be directly governed by them anymore. I think that it's a time that, you know, with nationalization, we can start to, you know, create a nation within a nation, a republic within a republic, which is kind of what, you know, other cultures do when they come here. So I think we should take advantage of that. And we are going to continue diving into the first 100 days of Donald Trump, you guys. So far, mass deportation. That's on the hit list. Aggressively removing people who are not legal in the United States. And along with that, another major turning point for him is the no taxes for overtime and no taxes for service workers. Okay, those two turning points itself resonated with Americans. That's what they wanted. That's what they felt like they deserved, and that's why they voted Trump in office. So let's go ahead and take the next time. Let's go ahead and take the next 30 minutes to discuss more of what's going to go on the next 100 days of Donald Trump. All right, you guys, Toya T here. Go ahead and like, share, follow, and subscribe. And please put your comments below on what do you think is going to happen over the next 100 days while he is in his presidency. Let's talk about the good first, then we'll talk about the bad, and then you guys let me know what you think, okay? Anything I can add to make this content better, please feel free to put it in the comments, because I can't get better if you don't tell me, okay? Stay tuned for the next 30 minutes, and we're going to get right back into this topic, y'all. All right, y'all. All right, y'all, Toya the T here, and I'm back. All right, you guys. Now, we are still here discussing the first 100 days of Trump. All right. Now, it's just November, and so far he's making promises. He's making promises that not all Americans may be supportive of. But for the 80% of Americans that voted him in, this is what the American people want. This is what the American people elected in office. And not only that, some of these values are probably what America needs to move this thing forward. All right, you guys. So, how do y'all feel? Go ahead and put your comments below. How do y'all feel about what's going on with Trump? Because a lot of us are upset. But a lot of us have a great understanding on exactly what's going to transpire over these next 4 years. Okay? So now, along with mass deportation and no taxes on service workers, as well as no taxes on overtime. Another thing that Donald Trump has done for what we would call media, like media content creators like myself, I've been doing social media probably since the first administration, somewhere around 2017, 2018. I am one of those media creators who I talk cash money, and I have been shadow banned tons of times. I have been blocked. I have been restricted. I have been all of that on multiple occasions. And, even right now to this day, Facebook will not allow me to accept any more followers than 2,700, and we know that the max is actually 5,000. So another one of the things that Trump has done that actually is good for content creators, especially content creators like myself, that we just like to keep it real. We don't want to sugarcoat, we don't want to, divert away from the real truth of what's going on. Donald Trump has now made it mandatory that these social media sites cannot block your content. Okay? They cannot keep your speech silent. All right? And now, of course, we know that one of the reasons why he is allowing this to even take place is because him himself has always screamed, fake news. They need to tell you the truth, things of that nature. They understand the propaganda. He understands the rhetoric. And again, keep in mind, this man pays the best of the best advisors to be on his team. And if some of them were rogue advisors, I could see that, because there are tons of people who went to, enter in the field of, law or law enforcement, or even, being a doctor. And because of the way some things are being allowed to be dealt with, they've quit because it's not what, the values that we're saying that we're sticking by. Okay? So with that being said, it's going to be an issue if you try to silence small media content creators. If you try to block and shadow ban people from utilizing their content, right? So if we don't know, when President Barack Obama was in office, he actually interacted this law. He injected this law to where if you have an issue with the company, right, and when it comes to a refund, you sue the company, right? And this is something that, if you've noticed, after Barack Obama being in office, there was an influx in lawsuits and all of these crazy phone commercials, radio commercials about insurance and getting the max, right? Because now you can sue if the company is found at fault. Now, that's something that Barack Obama put in. Now, with that being said, leading up to Trump now being in office. We have to understand that, you know, if there is an issue with a content creator and a person that is being slandered, or a person that is, you know, being subjected to untruth, you now have to handle that with the individual, and this is where lawsuits now come into play. All right. So now on a federal level, Donald Trump is not allowing people to silence your content, right? So Facebook cannot silence your content because you are talking about whatever it is. Now keep in mind, this is not a one-way portal. This is a two-way portal. So when he unleashes this release of content, being able to be exposed on social media, keep in mind in the back of our heads, the same way we have this idea branded that he is a racist who promotes KKK activity, then when he goes to unleash this law, this federal law that will not allow you to be banned and blocked, then yes, we should expect an uptick in seeing more white supremacy materials floating across the internet, right? Now, I believe the way that they are going to backdoor this is stating that the company itself is trying to protect the community guidelines of the platform. So that means Mr. Trump's minions is going to have to work really hard to assure that when we begin to speak on social media, that if we indeed tell the truth or speak the truth, that we cannot be silenced and hushed because we don't have the funds for the lawyer that is going to take to keep us from getting blocked. Okay, so again, from a social media aspect, a lot of social media people are going to be really happy. Why? Because he's allowing you freedom of speech. He's allowing you to say what it is that you want to say. That can be a plus for a multitude of people. That can allow a lot of people, again, to now have an intake and a higher revenue because, I mean, people want entertainment, believe it or not. A lot of the people who were banned off of social media, who, even though it was negative rhetoric, believe it or not, it made money. World Star made money. Tragedy makes money. Drama makes money. So it could potentially open up a door for a lot of different content creators to get increased revenues now because he's doing away with any silencing of content on social media. All right? It's free game. So a lot of content creators are ecstatic about that rule that he's put in place. All right? So these first 100 days, listen, he's not playing. He's not playing. Now, there was also another story where we want to talk about the Department of Education. Okay? And again, I'm only going to express with you guys my personal feelings on, again, why I went Republican, and why I am agreeing with him on the Department of Education. Okay? I think one thing, we don't really understand how things work until you get on the inside. I think we always on the outside looking in, and when you're on the outside looking in, you don't really understand why the in is going like that. All right? For me, I attended a school, a college, to get my degree, and there were moments where I was not in school, and they still charged me. There were moments where there was a year I was out of school, they still charged me, right? There was a lot of suspicious activity with this particular school that I was enrolled in, and them, you know, getting funds, and they're taking funds and money from a loan that I'm not getting, that I'm responsible for. Okay, now keep in mind that all loans are what? Through the Department of Education. Now, if we really look at the extent of the Department of Education, let's be realistic. America is trash when it comes to education. America has been trash when it comes to education ever since we took music and arts out of the school. And again, the implementation of the Department of Education started going really hard on taking out the music and the arts, cutting programs, cutting funding. And on top of that, not to mention, whatever happened to the millions of dollars that we found out that people were funneling from school districts who, even though the people received time, where did the money go? Well, at any rate, let me divert back to why I don't think Department of Education is worthy of sticking around anyway. Well, at any rate, like I said, I'm going to said school, and I'm noticing that my loan amount is like double what they said that the course class is, right? And not only that, I also noticed that as a student, they failed me on a couple of classes. I didn't understand how, but they failed me, right? Which means you got to take them over, right? Which now more money is coming in. I'm calling the school like, yo, I'm looking at y'all taking my loans, and it's like not right. And they're feeding me all this foolishness, yada yada yada, right? So at any rate, remember I was saying that I turned in work, they failed me, right? So I had to take the class over again. So when I took the class over again, now they passed me. So I immediately think to myself, I said, oh, they're scamming people. So you're going to fail them to make them take the class again. So you are thinking you got to do different work because it wasn't right the first time. But I literally did the same work, turned the same work in, and got the right grade. So I knew they were scamming me. So that intrigued me to, in turn, go do some research about this school I'm attending. Now, at this point, a $55,000 bachelor's degree is running about $80,000 right now. And I'm like, why? Well, at any rate, I do some research and find out that previously, this same exact school has been sued for playing with students' money, right? Okay, boom. Now, again, because the Department of Education is the person who writes the checks, right? That's the person that you're going to have to pay the money back to, right? While they're sitting up here saying that we're in billions of dollars of debt, student loan debt, we're probably in billions of dollars of student loan debt because a lot of our teachers, especially with the online schools, have been ripping us off. But that's neither here nor there. I find out that the school has been sued previously for playing with students' money. They changed their name. So I, at this point now, contact who? The Department of Education. Why do I contact the Department of Education? Because the Department of Education is the one that I now, in turn, have to pay these loans back to. Right? Right. Okay. Do you know that I call the Department of Education and explain to them, hey, listen, I'm responsible for paying you guys your loans back. The school has a discrepancy. There's money missing. They've been taking money. I was out a whole year. They still take money. They still bill me. You guys are billing me saying, like, I owe you guys $100,000, and that's not right. You know, who do I talk to try to get a hold of this? And the lady at the Department of Education, whom is of deep African descent, says to me, this is the Department of Education. Only thing we do is take payments. Okay, so you take payments, but you take my payment and I'm paying money and somebody been stealing my money and I got to pay for it. So is there like an investigator or some kind of investigation? And the lady just continued to tells me that there's nothing she can do for me. The Department of Education only simply takes payments. So at the end of the day, if we got this internal Department of Education that these people are funneling millions of dollars from, because it's not going to the schools, can't possibly be going to the schools. The teachers are paying for supplies. Our teachers are paid the lowest and the worst. So why do we need Department of Education? Nope. Snip, snap, throw it out the window. Throw the bath out, keep the baby. All right. Now what we're going to do, we're going to dismantle that, right? And the money, again, here we go, we're freeing up money. The money that we will be funneling to the Department of Education that people are stealing anyway, that they're ripping us off with, that's increasing our debt even though it's not true because no one's monitoring it. Delete that. The funds that will go there will now individually go to each state or city or county. So when it comes time to figuring out where this